What's up, guys? It's Mike, coming back at you with another episode of Shallow Reefing. And today, on this episode of BRS Investigates, does Poly Lab Polyp Booster really have a 15-second or 30-second feeding response from corals? I'm just kidding. I figured I would do something funny like that, like Randy does on all of his BRS Investigates. But what I really want to do is see if Poly Lab Polyp Booster does indeed have a feeding response and trigger a feeding response like they claim. So with this, you can see it has tons of crude proteins and mostly like moisture in here. It looks like there's some different types of fibers, and it's supposed to trigger a feeding response in 30 seconds. I was close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dose 2 milliliters of this in my 80-gallon reef tank, and then I'm going to do a time lapse and see if I can actually get a feeding response from it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this about 10 minutes. I'll do a time lapse for 10 minutes before I put in my reef chili, because this is supposed to help with your corals get ready to feed. I'm guessing that's what they're promoting, saying that this is going to get you ready to feed. Now I want to say a big shout out to Cincinnati Coral. I was up in Ohio and I was talking to this guy who is the owner of a reef shop, and he was just so great. He was talking to me about a bunch of different things in the hobby, and I was just picking his brain. And you know, you gotta support anyone who's gonna give you their time. So I figured I'd grab a bottle, and he had it on sale. So I was pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna do a time-lapse video of me feeding the tank with this and see if I can get a feeding response.
So just spilled all my reef chili right there. Now I gotta clean it up.
Well, got the spot bot going now. I just used the hose and cleaned it all up, and then now I'm just making sure I get everything with the spot bot.
Alright guys, so as you can see, I have an A can on the screen, and I'm doing a time lapse of the A can with the feeding response. Now please forgive me, I know I missed some of the coralline algae off the glass, but you know, what can you do? When you're looking at this, you're not really seeing a big feeding response. Definitely not the 50 or 30-second feeding response that Poly Lab is saying. I did put 2 milliliters of the Poly Lab Polyp Booster in the tank after I had shut the return pump off, because I wanted to make sure none of them went in the overflow. So you just kind of see it pulsating back and forth with the water and the current from the gyres mixing it up, but nothing really where you're seeing the tentacles coming out. I'm definitely not getting a solid feeding response from this. Now, with that being said, I did have another video where it was a more of a farther away shot of like all three of my A cans and my Lobo, and wanted to see if you could see a feeding response that way. Definitely not. I even zoomed in on one of the acroporas, the little acro island that I had, to see if there was a feeding response. Didn't get that either, so I'm not going to throw all those clips in here, because I've, no sense in me making you guys waste a bunch of time for this. Now, as you can see, this clip here, it's about 2 minutes long, and I have it sped up in a hyperlapse, so this covers about 10 minutes. So I gave 10 minutes for this to have a feeding response. Now, the next clip that we're going to be moving on to, I figured since the A-can wasn't working out too well, not seeing a feeding response, maybe the Lobo. So the Lobo, I had to do a top-down view so that you could see if there would be a feeding response on the Lobo. Now with the Lobo, midway through this 10-minute clip as well, I will say that the lights do go from their normal lighting to more the deeper blue lighting. So there could be some change in that, where it could have affected the coral, but probably not. And you can kind of tell that the Lobo, about halfway through, so about at the 5-minute mark, it starts to get more of those it starts to kind of come in on itself a little bit, and just on the edges you can kind of see where it's going to start getting a little bit of those little feeder tentacles coming out, just barely. But overall, to say it gives a feeding response, it might in some corals, but not a very strong feeding response, I would say. For the Poly Lab Polyp Booster, I would definitely look at this more like an amino acid or something along those lines, where it's just going to help augment and supplement it. And you kind of saw earlier how I just spilled all my reef chili. So after I dose this, give it about 10 to 15 minutes, like it says on the bottle, then go and spot feed your corals with either the reef roids, coral frenzy, or the reef chili like I do. And try not to spill it on your carpet or your wife will be really upset with you. I don't think my wife knew I spilled it, but oh well, I cleaned it up anyway.
So, overall, guys, Poly Lab Polyp Booster, I kind of like it. I kind of like how you broadcast feed it. I like how you do get a feeding response from some corals, not all of them. And it is more of your LPS corals you're going to get one of those feeding responses from. But I do think it's kind of like the amino acids from brightwell, where you do put the amino acids in the water and it helps with the coloration and it's easier for the corals to process. I kind of see this as being similar to it, but it's more my style of feeding. I mean, if I have the brightwell amino, I'm going to do the same thing, broadcast feed. I'm not going to spot feed it. But I do like any of these type of amino acids in conjunction with like reef chili or reef roids or reef frenzy, any of that stuff. So this will always be part of my feeding regimen. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more, click the subscribe button. And if you have any comments, comment below, let me know, and I'll get back to you with another video.